The Biden administration has finalized rules to close what is referred to as the gun show loophole. That is a gap in federal regulations which allowed people to sell firearms at gun shows online or other places outside of stores without requiring a background check. Under the rule released today by the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, or ATF, that changes. The law expands the definition of those who are engaged in the business of selling guns at a profit, requiring them to register as a federally licensed firearms dealer and conduct background checks. Let's bring in Mark Barden, co-founder and CEO of the Sandy Hook Promise Action Fund. He lost his son Daniel in the tragic mass shooting at Sandy Hook Elementary School in Connecticut back in 2012. Since then, he has dedicated himself to preventing gun violence. Mark, thank you so much for your time today. We really appreciate it. Before we get into this new rule, would you mind quickly sharing with us a little bit about your son, Daniel? What would you want people to know about him?
Thank you, Tracy. Daniel was just a light of compassion. He really noticed other people. We used to call him the caretaker of all living things. He was just a very compassionate little boy. He was aware of others, and he was a light in this world. And we will forever just be devastated that he was taken from us in such violence when he was 7 years old in his first grade classroom.
Yeah, I know most people can't even fathom this. It's so hard. So thank you for talking to us. Mark, what do you think about this new rule? I mean, how significant do you think it is? And if it were in place back in 2012, do you think it could have prevented your son's death?
I don't go through all the little minutia of what piece of legislation could have prevented that. What my role at Sandy Hook Promise is we want to prevent other families from having to endure this lifetime of pain due to losing a loved one to preventable gun violence. And we know that the background check does work. The research informs us that. It's been around for 30 years in licensed firearm dealers. And so what this law does is it addresses a loophole where people are selling firearms at a high volume without having a license and not conducting background checks. So this just addresses those nearly 25 or somewhere maybe over 25,000 individuals who are engaged in the business selling firearms at a high volume that are not licensed. And they need to be licensed and they need to be conducting background checks because folks who are prohibited know that this loophole exists and intentionally go to these dealers to buy firearms when they would be stopped otherwise by the background check.
Yeah, Mark, what else do you think needs to be done to keep weapons out of the hands of people who should not possess them? I mean, a lot of times, too, people who shouldn't have these guns maybe buy them illegally, or they are able to pass a background check in some way. So what else do you think needs to happen?
Things that responsible gun owners are already doing should be the law of the land. So that when a tragedy happens because someone negligently leaves a firearm accessible to a toddler, that there will be accountability. So safe and secure storage of firearms in the home should be the law of the land. There are other tools at our disposal, like the temporary transfer. If somebody is a known threat to themselves or others, their firearms can be held elsewhere until they're safe to resume ownership. So there are tools, in addition to the background checks, that are available to us that do save lives and protect the Second Amendment. But this piece of legislation that has just been announced today is huge. It's the largest, most significant piece of legislation to come since the background checks were implemented in 1994. And we've been advocating for this for over 11 years, since the aftermath of the tragedy in Sandy Hook. We've been working on this steadfastly all along. So this is a huge victory, and it's a significant step toward universal background checks, which we hope our Congress can achieve in a bipartisan way.
Mark, thank you so much for coming on and speaking with us. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, Tracy.